Canned sardines are the health world's Trojan horse, omega-3 packed, shelf-stable, and adorably portioned in little metal coffins. But what the label doesn't show is this. In 2019, a Consumer Reports analysis found mercury, arsenic, and even microplastics in multiple popular seafood brands, some exceeding safety limits deemed acceptable by the EPA. That tin of heart-healthy goodness might as well be a cocktail of oceanic regret and heavy metals. Because when big tuna fell from grace, sardines swooped in like the suspicious rebound boyfriend full of promises and possibly lead. Today, we're ranking 8 widely sold canned sardines from worst to least deadly, and revealing the only 2 that won't turn your mitochondria into a fire hazard. Number 8. Bumble Bee sardines in oil. Ah yes, America's nostalgic favorite, sitting on store shelves like the culinary ghost of your grandma's pantry. But behind the faux old-timey charm is a greasy little crime scene. Independent lab tests have flagged this brand for elevated levels of cadmium and questionable freshness, because nothing says coastal delight like metallic aftertaste and a side of potential kidney damage. And let's talk about the oil, more like industrial sludge than olive dream. For those keeping score, that's cadmium, oxidized fat, and corporate betrayal, all in one bite-sized tin. Makes you wonder if the bumblebee on the label is just trying to escape its own product. Number 7. King Oscar Wilde caught sardines in extra virgin olive oil. With a name like King Oscar, you'd expect royalty, not rancid monarchy. Marketed as the premium European pick, these sardines come cloaked in medieval-looking packaging and a crown logo that screams, "Trust me, I'm noble." But that regal wrapping hides a distinctly peasant-tier reality. Independent tests in 2020 found traces of microplastics and inconsistent omega-3 levels, sort of like promising a royal gala and delivering a Tupperware potluck. And about that extra virgin olive oil? Taste testers reported it more closely resembled overworked fry grease than Mediterranean purity. It's like buying a vintage wine and uncorking a Capri Sun for adults. Fit for a king? Only if the king's retirement plan is early onset oxidative stress. Number 6. Beachcliff sardines in soybean oil. The only thing more suspicious than what's inside this can is the price tag. These sardines are disturbingly cheap, like dollar store sushi levels of unsettling. And the secret sauce? A generous soak in industrial-grade soybean oil, because nothing says health food like an inflammatory fat that doubles as biodiesel fuel. According to USDA data, these cans sometimes come with sodium levels that flirt with your daily max before breakfast, not to mention the occasional mushy texture that implies a fish funeral happened mid-processing. They slapped "wild caught" on the label, like it's a magic spell that transmutes garbage into gourmet. But unless your idea of fine dining is fish jello in motor oil, maybe steer clear of this oceanic apology letter. Next time you're tempted, ask yourself, is 89 cents really worth a lifetime of vascular resentment? Number 5. Brunswick sardines in spring water. On the surface, they look innocent. Minimalist label, spring water instead of oil, the clean-eating poster child. But like a motivational poster in a cubicle, it's all aesthetic and no substance. Tests have shown elevated sodium for a no-salt added product, plus question marks around the origin of their so-called spring water, which may as well be a poetic euphemism for heavily chlorinated tap. And let's not ignore the texture. These things flake apart like the plot of a late-season soap opera, with smell to match. Sustainability claims? Shaky at best. Eating this is like sipping a green smoothie that quietly files your organs for early retirement. The lesson here? Just because something swims in water doesn't mean it's clean, or safe, or remotely edible. Number 4. Season brand skinless and boneless sardines in olive oil. The name alone feels like it's trying to seduce your arteries into submission. Marketed as a cleaner option, no skin, no bones, just fish and healthy fat. It's the sardine equivalent of a suspiciously polite neighbor who turns out to be hiding a freezer full of mystery meat. While they boast being wild-caught and packed in olive oil, reports have flagged oxidation issues and alarmingly inconsistent batch qualities. One can might be firm and flavorful, while the next tastes like despair in brine form. And let's not gloss over the labeling acrobatics. Product of Morocco sounds exotic until you realize it often means vague supply chains and limited oversight. It's the culinary version of dating someone with a mysterious past and frequent power outages. Romantic? Maybe. Reliable? Not for your pancreas. Number 3. Great value sardines in mustard sauce. Walmart's fearless foray into the world of questionable ocean snacks. The label screams budget-friendly, but what it lacks in price, it more than compensates with taste bud trauma and ingredient roulette. These little guys swim in a mustard sauce so radioactive-looking it could double as a nuclear spill warning. And while the branding leans into mustard as a flavor punch, what's really punching you is the sodium, clocking in at nearly 400 milligrams per serving, which means by tin number 2, you're basically seasoning your organs from the inside. Lab analyses have flagged variable mercury counts too, making this less of a meal and more of a condiment-flavored gamble. Who knew the bargain aisle could house its own health hazard theme park? Number 2. Crown Prince sardines in water. Sounds dignified, right? Like an aristocratic menu item at a royal luncheon. But open the can, and the fantasy evaporates faster than your trust in food certification labels. First, the good news. They're packed in water, not oil. Now the bad. That water, according to third-party tests, has shown trace contaminants often inconsistent with the brand's squeaky clean image. And the fish themselves? Prone to mushiness with occasional reports of off flavors that taste less like the sea and more like someone's attempt at bottling regret. They flaunt being BPA-free and sustainably sourced, but the vagueness around sourcing has triggered skepticism among watchdog groups. Basically, Crown Prince wears a monocle, but doesn't know how to read the room, or the mercury reports. If you're looking for hydration with heartbreak, congratulations, you found your silver-plated disappointment. Number 1. Polar sardines in tomato sauce. Polar. The brand that's somehow simultaneously everywhere and nowhere, like the canned goods version of a gas station urban legend. On paper, this should be an easy win. Sardines, tomato sauce, and a price tag that won't cause wallet palpitations. But testing shows that beneath that vaguely Soviet-era label lies a tin full of confusion. The tomato sauce? More like liquefied sugar with a ketchup complex, containing additives that bring artificial sweetness to new levels of culinary denial. And the sardines themselves? Often overcooked, texturally confused, and frequently cited in consumer complaints for tasting like metal-flavored regret. Plus, documented inconsistency in can integrity raises questions about contamination and quality control that even their own website tap dances around. Imagine trusting your heart health to a product that seems to be actively avoiding eye contact. It's the seafood equivalent of a public relations intern posing as a surgeon. But hey, at least it's red, so your arteries know what hit them. Now, after that haul of sardine horrors, it's time to talk redemption. Yes, incredibly, there are 2 brands that don't set your insides on fire. Number 1, Wild Planet Wild Sardines in extra virgin olive oil. Independent third-party tests praise them for low mercury levels, high omega-3 content, and, get this, actual olive oil that doesn't double as engine lubricant. They're sustainably sourced, BPA-free, and actually taste like fish that once knew the ocean. Imagine that. A sardine that won't turn your liver into a hazardous materials site. It's almost unsettling how unproblematic they are. Almost. The second shockingly safe option. Bela lightly smoked sardines in olive oil with lemon. It's the sardine equivalent of meeting someone on a dating app who actually looks like their photos and doesn't have 3 exes living in the basement. Bela's sourcing is transparent, the cans are BPA-free, and independent lab tests have shown consistently low contaminant levels. The fish are firm, flavorful, and the olive oil is real enough to pass a blind tasting, which in sardine terms is basically a miracle. That lemon hint? Subtle enough not to scream gimmick, but bright enough to mask the haunting memories of sardines past. It's clean, it's honest, and it won't require a heavy metal detox. In this industry of edible landmines, Bela might as well be the unicorn with gills. Drop your biggest healthy food betrayal below. Bonus points if it once wore a label that said heart-friendly, but tasted like industrial sabotage. Turns out your breakfast has been gaslighting you this whole time. Sardines, vitamins, even water, they all joined the conspiracy, and your pantry was the crime scene. So next time you reach for a can, remember, some fish were caught wild, others just have wild alibis. And if your lunch smells like secrets and disappointment, maybe that's your gut trying to file a restraining order. Welcome to the end of the tinned fish fever dream. If your digestive tract survived the lineup, congratulations, you may be eligible for hazard pay. Drop your biggest healthy food betrayal below, and let's see which brand gaslighted you into thinking it cared. And remember, when a sardine says it's clean and natural, ask yourself, so did Ted Bundy. Because in a world where toxic tins masquerade as heart helpers and tomato sauce hides betrayal, the real surprise isn't that some sardines are dangerous, it's that we ever trusted them in the first place. So the next time your grocery cart whispers sweet nothings about omega-3s and spring water purity, remember, your pantry isn't just stocked, it's booby-trapped. So if a tiny tin of fish can harbor this much betrayal, just imagine what your multivitamin is plotting. Sardines, once the humble hero of health-conscious shopping carts, have officially crossed into the criminal underworld of aisle 5. Remember, not all fish are created equal. Some will bless your cells with omega-3s, others send a toxic love letter to your liver. The line between heart-healthy and heavy metal side dish is thinner than a sardine spine. And now you know where the bones are buried. And that concludes the glamour parade of mercury-laced misery and sodium-packed sadness. Sardines, once the darlings of dietitians everywhere, have revealed their true scales. From pseudo-royalty swishing in rancid oils to tin-packed heartbreaks swimming in culinary lies, it's safe to say your pantry deserves better surveillance. If anyone ever tells you sardines are a superfood, feel free to respond with a suspicious squint and a slow retreat, because in the world of health foods that turn hostile, it's not paranoia if the can is watching you back. The next time you stare into the cold, glistening eye of a sardine can, remember, some are nutritional knights, others are miniature Trojan horses loaded with dietary deceit. You're not just opening seafood, you're unleashing an identity crisis in omega-3 form, half nutrition, half aquatic existential dread. But armed with the truth and a healthy side of skepticism, you might just avoid signing a tuna-scented lease on gastrointestinal chaos. The fish lied. Now you know? And knowing? That's one fewer heavy metal mixtape hitting your bloodstream during lunch. So congratulations, you've survived the sardine inquisition with your irony intact and your liver only mildly offended. If nothing else, we've proven your pantry deserves a background check, preferably one audited by someone not employed by the canning industry. Just remember, next time something promises natural ingredients and omega-rich goodness, ask yourself this: is that the sound of the ocean? Or just your dignity circling the drain with a side of mercury? Because sardines weren't just a fish, they were a test of your faith in labels, your tolerance for metallic mystery meat, and your ability to pretend you don't notice your dinner glowing slightly under certain kitchen lighting. We entered believing in omega-3 miracles and left with a can-shaped trust issue lodged in our collective gut. So if you've learned anything today, let it be this: read beyond the nutrition label, trust no tin without references, and maybe, just maybe, treat every canned sardine like an unsolicited email from a Nigerian prince. Technically promising, statistically perilous. So the next time someone tells you their secret to glowing skin is a daily can of sardines, feel free to nod politely while slowly backing away from their mercury-scented truth bomb. Because when the seafood aisle starts sounding like a thriller plot and your lunch needs a toxicology report, it's clear. Health food isn't just misunderstood, it's wearing a disguise. Eat smart, stay suspicious, and always remember, just because it swam once doesn't mean it's still safe to eat. Because at the end of the day, your body isn't just a temple, it's a crime scene investigators keep finding snack-related fingerprints at. Sardines, supplements, clean label lies, they've all had their turn with the knife, and your metabolism's been the silent witness. So go ahead, audit that pantry like it's plotting something. Because if it's wrapped in foil, drowning in oil, and wrapped in words like pure or heart healthy, it might just be part of the conspiracy. Happy shopping, detectives. Because if sardines taught us anything, it's that beneath every shiny label and health claim might be a tin of aquatic deception waiting to salt your organs from within. Sleep well tonight, knowing your pantry has trust issues too, and one of them comes with a pull tab. So we've filleted the lies, drained the fake oils, and cracked open every aluminum vault of aquatic betrayal. What's left? Just your fridge, your brain, and the creeping realization that your quick, healthy snack may have once qualified for hazmat transport. Don't panic. Just reconsider. Because trust isn't found in a tin. It's earned in lab reports, clear sourcing, and sardines that don't taste like they've lived 6 lives too many. Until then, treat every health food that comes in a can like it's auditioning for a role in your next dietary horror story. Credits roll, fork drops, mercury levels pending. So here's where we leave you, standing in front of your pantry like it just texted its ex at 2 a.m. The fish have spoken, the labels have lied, and your dinner might secretly be plotting your nutritional downfall. Again, we'd tell you to trust your gut, but given what you've probably already fed it, your gut might be halfway through drafting its resignation letter. Bon appétit, dear viewer, and may your next snack not require legal counsel. Because when your lunch starts needing a background check, and your snack feels like an inside job, it may be time to admit what no wellness influencer ever will. Some of your healthy choices belong in an evidence locker, not on your plate. Stay suspicious, chew cautiously, and if your sardine stares back, shut the can and slowly walk away. So the sardine saga comes to a close, not with a nutritious bang, but with a dented can and a wildly speculative expiration date. If today's deep-fried truth grenade taught us anything, it's that packed with protein might just be shorthand for lightly pre-poisoned. So next time someone offers you their favorite tinned fish, smile politely and ask one simple question. Was this meal cleared by a hazmat team or your TikTok nutrition coach? And so we end where we began, with a can in hand and reality leaking from the sides. Sardines, once the low-key heroes of healthy eating, now exposed as potential accomplices in your personal wellness downfall. Because nothing says modern nutrition quite like a sodium bomb sealed in aluminum, marinated in mystery oils, and sold with promises that age about as well as the fish inside. So go forth, health sleuths, investigate your labels, question your cans, and remember, not all superfoods come bearing super intentions. Some come with receipts, some come with regrets, and some just come swimming in lies. Sleep well tonight. Your pantry just got a little more honest, and your sardines a lot more suspicious. Just remember, the only thing tighter than a sardine can is the lid on corporate accountability. So congratulations, you now hold a PhD in seafood skepticism and a minor in nutritional gaslighting. As your reward, we leave you with this parting wisdom. When a sardine tin whispers sweet nothings about longevity, ask it for a toxicology report first. Because the next time your pantry tries to romance you with omega-rich promises and rustic packaging, you'll know better. Or at least have your hazmat gloves ready. You've made it to the bitter end, armed with nothing but suspicion, sarcasm, and possibly a mild case of tin-induced existentialism. Just know this. Sardines aren't food. They're a psychological thriller in drenched aluminum. So keep your friends close, your EPA guidelines closer, and your tins stored somewhere you can hear them if they start whispering again. Good night, and may your next snack not be plotting your autopsy. And now, dear viewer, if your canned goods still earn eye contact after all this, we salute your unshakable optimism, or your wildly underdeveloped sense of self-preservation. Either way, go forth with your pantry audit goggles on and your sarcasm sharpened. Because sardines were never just a snack, they were the ultimate test of whether you'd read the fine print before swallowing the story. May your next tin be transparent, your oil not flammable, and your fish free from treasonous intentions. Class dismissed. So here ends the sardine saga, reeking of betrayal and dipped in invisible toxins. A shiny can, an oily promise, and the quiet sound of your liver-filing HR reports against your dinner. Class dismissed. And now that your shelves are suddenly suspect, and your sardine stash looks a lot more like evidence than dinner, we wrap this tin-lined tale for good. You've faced the mercury, survived the mustard, and lived to side-eye your grocery list another day. The saga ends not with a recipe, but with a revelation. Your pantry has secrets, and some of them come packed in oil with a smile and a side of betrayal. Sleep tight, sardine skeptics. The fish may be shelf-stable, but your trust in labels? Thoroughly destabilized. So unpack your pantry, unlearn the marketing, and give your liver a standing ovation for surviving this long. Because when your food needs a lab coat, a warning label, and emotional support, it might be less of a snack and more of an accomplice. The tinned tale is over, but the investigation? Only just begun. So the final pull tab is popped, the last sardine laid bare, and the oily truth finally glistens in fluorescent clarity. Your pantry isn't just a convenience, it's a crime syndicate. From mislabeled tins masquerading as health gurus to fish that moonlight as biohazards, the lesson is clear. Trust is earned, not canned. Good night, nutrition renegades. May your next snack be honest, your oil unoxidized, and your faith in dinner slightly less traumatized. So as you stare into your pantry, lit like a crime scene and stocked like a food-themed practical joke, remember this. The greatest trick the sardine ever pulled was convincing the world it wanted to help your heart, not haunt your blood work. You've been warned, you've been armed, and now you have the knowledge to look your next tin of natural, wild-caught nutrition square in the label and say, "Not today, aquatic chaos."